Hey everybody, David here, and today I am going to be continuing my Marvel Cinematic Universe reviews by talking about Thor today. Thor starring Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Natalie Portman, and Anthony Hopkins, as well as some other incredible actors in this movie. And yeah, I thought I'd continue my marathon because until next week, there's nothing really that I want to see in theaters. And I thought to myself, what? Okay, do I want to see Jupiter ascending or do I want to see Thor again? I'm gonna see Thor again. So let's begin. So let's start off with the main character, Thor. What did I think of him? Because let's face it, the movie surrounds around this character because the movie is called Thor, right? So how is the leading character in this movie, the leading actor? Chris Hemsworth, as most of you know, is an Australian actor who came from a soap opera called Home and Away. And from my understanding from some sources, he was an actor that a lot of casting directors really wanted to cast in their films. And one of his first American films, if I'm correct, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of his first American films was actually in the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, where he played Captain Kirk's father. And so this was his second movie to come out in America, and it was obviously his biggest and most successful. And yeah, I gotta admit, I love Thor. Thor to me is one of the best of Marvel's Phase 1. Of what the films that Marvel had done leading to the Avengers, I felt this one was the best one of them all. Even better than Thor. Better than Thor. Better than Iron Man 1 and 2. To me, it's my favorite one of the Phase 1 films. And Chris Hemsworth is a huge part of that because he does really carry the weight of this film on his shoulders. And he does a really good job. He makes you believe that he's this character from another world that comes to Earth and has to learn to adapt to human lifestyle, you know? And the great thing about him, though, is that you see this dramatic part of him sometimes, but then he also has these comedic moments. I mean, it's not like Jim Carrey or Mike Myers or something like that. Not that far out comedic, but he does have some comedic moments, like the part where he's fighting in the hospital and the doctor puts the needle down his ass, and he does this funny moment. I don't know, he just like smudges against the window on the door, and I don't know, he has these great lines and these great he definitely has charisma, I'm gonna put it that way, and he's very versatile, it looks like. And that's probably why Chris Hemsworth is such a huge star right now, is because of how versatile he is. I also have to give props to Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki in the film, because yeah, you can have a great hero, but with every great hero comes a great villain. You know, for Batman, there's the Joker. For Superman, there's Lex Luthor. And for Thor, we got Loki. And out of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe villains so far, I think everyone can pretty much agree Loki is the best villain by far. By far. He, to me, right now, out of all the Marvel films, including the ones that Fox and Sony own, I feel Loki is the best right now. Maybe neck and neck with Magneto from Fox's X-Men films, but Loki definitely is the Joker, in my opinion, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Tom Hiddleston, most of that has to be thanks to him because he does such a terrific performance, sometimes even outshining the main star, in my opinion. They're both great actors, but if I had to pick one, I'm gonna go with Tom Hiddleston, because to me, the man, it's surprising to me that we haven't seen him all over the place yet, like Benedict Cumberbatch, you know, because to me, Tom Hiddleston should be in that category. You know, you should be hearing his name all over the place. And I'm glad he got that role in the new King Kong movie, Skull Island, that's supposed to be coming out, I believe, in 2017. and he's going to be playing the leading role in that film. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm glad he's finally getting something, and yeah, let's hope whenever they need Loki to return, let's hope Tom decides to stick around for a long time, like Hugh Jackman has as Wolverine. You know, I think both Chris and Tom are perfect, and it's definitely their chemistry that really carries the film. Their chemistry together is really, to me, in both Thor films, are the weight of the film. And like one of my favorite moments is where they're both arguing at the end, having this final confrontation. To me, that was one of my favorite moments in the film. Every time they're interacting, it's always great to witness this on screen. I think it's definitely Chris is what helps Tom be better, and Tom helps Chris be better. That's just my opinion, though. Speaking of relationships, we also have Jane Foster, who's one of the human characters we see in the film when Thor is banished by his father to Earth. And, yeah, I'm going to agree with a lot of people where Jane and Thor's relationship is probably the weakest of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe relationships. It's funny because this is my favorite film of the Marvel Phase 1 movies, but Thor and Jane's relationship does feel a little forced sometimes, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because the way it's all handled, and Natalie Portman, I think, is a great actress. I just feel the chemistry there, maybe it was the way it was written. It felt like it was too fast, you know, because Thor does get banished to Earth like maybe half an hour into the film. And maybe that doesn't allow a lot of leeway to kind of get them to, you know, have that good chemistry and have that good, you know, development in their relationship. They just seem like to be already attracted to each other as soon as they start talking to each other, you know. Jane isn't the only supporting actress or actor in this movie, or character. We also got a whole list of characters in this movie, such as the Warriors 3, Lady Sif, Dr. Selving, and Kat Dennings. Who does she play again? I forgot. Macy or something. But anyways, all these characters are pretty good in their own right. Obviously, Anthony Hopkins is Odin in this film, and he does a really good job. He definitely brings down the richness to some of the scenes as well, especially when he's interacting with Thor and Loki. You definitely feel that presence when he's on screen. Anthony Hopkins is just one of those actors. You know, Idris Elba is in this movie, but he's very underutilized. I think a lot of people would say that about most of the characters in the movie, that they're not fully developed or something like that, and I don't necessarily agree with all of that. I think all the characters are well handled. I just think the way Marvel looks at this is that Thor is the main character. He should be the main focus. That's just me. The special effects in the movie are really cool, especially when you see Asgard and the Frost Giant planet. I forgot what the planet is now. For the most part, the Frost Giants are pretty cool. We get a little bit of backstory on them and their, you know, battle with the Asgardians from centuries ago. And that's really well handled. And obviously Loki has a little tie into the Frost Giants. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but you'll know what that is when you watch it. It's a good twist. One that I wasn't expecting. As someone who never knew anything about Thor, it was a nice little twist with Loki and the Frost Giants. The score in this movie is probably one of my favorite scores of all the Marvel films. To me, I think the Thor films have had the best score. They're definitely ones that I enjoy listening to the most. And yeah, they just feel the right amount of epicness that you need. You need something. Thor is like Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings. And if you're going to have an epic movie on that scale, even though I wouldn't say Thor is on that scale of Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, I am going to say that it needs to have that feel of it. And the score definitely helps bring that out. And I definitely put the score up there for sure. Even the second movie had a great score. I'm kind of sad that they didn't use the score from this movie, I think the second film also had a really good score that stand on its own. So far, to me, the Thor films have had the best scores. As I mentioned before, there is a lot of, transitioning to these different planets. We get 3 different planets in this movie. We get Earth, obviously. We get Asgard, and we get the home of the Frost Giants, which that name is escaping me right now. I think it's Jotunheim or Jotunheim. I'm not sure. I think the J is silent. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, we get these 3 planets, and it's mostly Asgard and Earth. I think Jotunheim is there for like maybe 15 minutes in the beginning of the film, and then maybe very briefly at the end. Other than that, it's mostly Earth and Asgard. And throughout most of the movie, especially once Thor is banished to Earth, the movie does go from Earth and Asgard. We see what Thor is doing most of the time on Earth, while we see also how his banishment is affecting his friends on Asgard, as well as Loki's story that's going on and him taking over Asgard. And I think, to me, it's really well balanced, and it's something that I wished the movie Green Lantern would have had more of, a more well balanced thing, because I think what most people were looking forward to in Green Lantern was Green Lantern, in the core with his teammates and all that, and instead we were getting a typical superhero movie that was taken mostly on Earth, and we didn't get a lot of the space stuff that I think most people wanted from Green Lantern. And the Green Lantern had a lot of other problems also, but I feel Thor balanced everything right. Like, it didn't feel like you're another typical superhero movie. There was something special about it with the Asgard stuff, specifically, because you were interested and invested in those characters that were helping Thor, as well as Loki, as well as Odin, and that's what made them more interesting to watch. And you wanted to know, okay, what's going on up there, though, not just what's going on with Thor. Even though he's the main character, we want to know about some of the other characters too. And for the most part, yeah, I think it was handled really well. So, my final verdict. What am I going to give this movie? I am going to give Thor a 9 out of 10. It is a really fun film. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's my favorite film of Marvel Phase 1. I think there's very few things to dislike about this movie. I know a lot of people are probably going to give it a lower score, and that's cool. Everyone has their own opinions. But for me, I think this is a great film. I think, every time I watch this movie, I have a lot of fun watching it. It's just a fun action adventure film. And it's cool how Marvel, plays with these Norse mythology gods that makes them more into a modern day age. And I think it really works well, especially since it has to be connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I like the technology. Like, it's not really magic, but as it's said in the movie, magic is just, things that we don't understand. So maybe it's just a higher advanced technology that we're just not capable of getting yet. I like how they explain that to make it fit into Iron Man's world, and it really works really well. I should also mention Coulson is in this movie. If you don't remember, in my Iron Man 2 review, I did say that he leaves abruptly in towards the end of that film. He only has 2 scenes, and it did seem pointless. But if you watch Thor right after, the scenes with Coulson in Iron Man 2 make a lot more sense. And I think Coulson's role in this movie was much better handled than his role in Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2, if you look at Coulson's scenes only, it felt more like setting up for what's to come in the Avengers universe, right? This movie felt like it could stand on its own. You don't need to watch Iron Man 2, or The Incredible Hulk, or even Captain America to get what's going on. I felt it was just a nice little film, and handled really well. And I guess that's all that I have to say. I think I've said enough. And until next time, guys, take care.